Welcome to the Level 1 Lounge, where we give our uneducated take on anything and everything gaming related. Grab your controllers and strap in because we are about to press the power button. I'm your host this week, the one, the only, the second Irish Bandit. Joining me this week, as always, are my two intrepid co hosts, Rider Pride 639 and Agent Maverick 86. Gentlemen, how are we doing this week?
Fantastic.
Oh,
I'm
good, good.
down for my holidays.
I'm getting ready to do overnight shifts at
California.
work, so
Oh, boo.
not looking forward to that, but gotta be done.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we have a great episode on tap for you today. So let's just jump right into our burning question of the day, and that is, what is the best controller you've ever had as part of a console? I think.
Yeah, console PC, whatever you
Console
want.
PC.
Yeah.
Agent Maverick, your question. Let's start with you.
Okay, so this is going to be kind of one that's going to surprise everyone. The one that I remember the most, that I enjoyed the most, was actually a Mad Catz controller. As weird as that sounds, that was actually with on GameCube. It was the first wireless controller that I had.
Okay.
And that was the one that actually stands out the most. The batteries died super quick on that thing. But I mean,
Was it made by
for-
Apple? Oh,
he didn't mean it. We want them as a sponsor.
I'm saying that as someone who owns an iPhone.
No, but that's the one that stands out the most. The thing is, I do think that the controllers have gotten better. I think overall attached like the original manufacturer controller. I think I like the PlayStation 5 controller with the features. But overall, like I can't also deny that the best ergonomic controller that I think is out there is actually the Xbox controller. So favorite one is actually that wireless GameCube controller, just because it was the first wireless one that I had. That's the one I remember the most. But overall, I think for the features, the PlayStation 5 one is probably my favorite right now.
Ryder Pride, how about you?
I would have to say the one that I probably enjoyed the most. It's actually sitting on the shelf behind me over here. Unfortunately, it's also dead. I have to get it. I have to replace it at some point in time. But it's the Xbox Elite 2 wireless controller for PC and Xbox. It's got a lot of weight to it. Like it's a very hefty controller, but it makes for a really, really comfortable grip. I think like just kind of the ergonomics of it, the stick positions, and the way they position the back paddles for your middle fingers to use. Really, really well designed. I do have another similar controller here. It's the Razer. I think it's the Wolverine V3 Chroma. Which is an all right controller. It's a great replacement. I got it for Christmas, so I'm not complaining there. But that Xbox Elite 2 was definitely probably my favorite controller to hold. Like I said, the weight was really, really nice. The Bluetooth features were really, really nice. So if I needed to play Xbox Game Pass on my phone, I could pair it to my phone. I can pair it to my PC. It was a great control overall. Really, really, really expensive, but well worth every dollar for the amount that I used it and abused it anyways.
I think I shared with you guys earlier that ROG is releasing an Xbox PC controller. Would that be something that you'd be looking at then
It's
as a
been out for a
replacement?
while. You're talking about the
Okay.
Raikiri, right?
Yes, I
Yeah,
believe so.
that's
Yeah.
that's one of the ones I was looking at last Christmas.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. No, I was looking at that one. There's another one that I'm keeping my eye on as well, because it's a Bluetooth controller for PC and Nintendo Switch 2. I can't remember the brand name of it off the top. It's kind of an off brand, but it's one that's apparently pretty popular for Nintendo Switch enthusiasts. So I might take a look at that one too and see what that one's all about.
I think for me, the best gaming controller that I ever used would probably have to be the GameCube, like the OG GameCube controller. It was just so designed so well. And let's face it, the N64 controller was not the
I was
best.
waiting
Like,
for somebody to say this. That
like
one was
Nintendo,
awkward.
Nintendo really. I don't want to crap on Nintendo too much, but some of their controllers just haven't been the best. Like you take a look at the original NES controller. It's just a box. It's kind of uncomfortable. They kind of revamped it a little bit when they had the top loader NES and had the dog bone shape controller. That was a little more comfortable. Same with the Super Nintendo controller. But then it just seems like everything regressed backwards with the N64 controller, and that was just not fun to play on. But at least with the GameCube controller, that was fun to play on. It was nice. You could hold it really well and play. Another great one would probably be the Nintendo, the PlayStation controller, like don't know whether it's the first one or the analog
The
Dual
Dual
Shock.
Shock. Yeah, the Dual
That
Shock.
was a
the
fun
one
one.
where they first introduced
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sticks. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had a
As-
PS1 that had the Dual Shocks, and oh my god, I love those so much.
Oh, the Dual Shocks
Yeah.
were really good.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got to give it to PlayStation and Xbox. Like when it comes to the controllers that they've made, like the design hasn't really changed, right?
Yeah.
Like Nintendo has been trying to find the best direction to really go, but the thing is, their systems, I gotta say, they're innovative enough that they need to kind of change things around enough. Like, what were they called? Like the Wii Chucks at one point. Like you
Yeah.
had
Wii
you
controller.
had those
I
controllers.
call
Yeah,
them
the Wii.
Wiimote.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like they needed, they had the motion, so they kind of needed that. So they progressively tried to find something that worked better for them. And let's face it, the handheld market right now is dominated by them right now with the Switch and the
always has
Switch
been.
2. Absolutely. And I mean, even with the Wii U, when that was a thing there too for a while, like we got to give them props. Xbox, the design isn't really much different between the Series X and the Xbox One. I mean, I'm sure that there's a few connections that are different. Like obviously there's a slight change from the 360, but their controllers overall have been very ergonomic and were actually quite easy to use and user friendly as well. So for not the features, but like the actual ergonomics, I do like the Xbox controller more. It does fit my hands better compared to the PlayStation controller. But
Yeah, I agree with that. Man, who
But what's-
remembers the original monstrosity of the original Xbox controller?
I was just gonna say that. I was just
The
gonna say,
Duke?
what about the Duke? Like that
Yes.
thing was massive.
Yeah.
I want a Duke for the Xbox Series X. That's what I want. I would absolutely buy one in a heartbeat.
I think there was a mech based game that had its own specialized controller, and it was basically like a tray that had like all these knobs and switches and levers and things like that. I can't remember the game off the top of my head. Sound off in the comments below if you know which one I'm talking about. But like this big giant tray controller and it was just for this game specifically. It didn't work on any other game. This thing had to weigh like probably a good 20-30 pounds. Like this thing was an absolute tank.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, and the game itself was not good to begin with, so it was super hard to control. It was, but I mean, they don't make them like that anymore.
No.
I came across a video of a guy finding that controller that you're describing in a dumpster, and it was still working. And he pulled it out. He actually owned a pawn store or pawn shop, and they had the game available and the original Xbox to hook it up to. So he set it up and hooked it up to test it out, and it still worked. It was brand new. So I know it. Like if you had brought that up 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have known what you were talking about. But I think I seen that video like a week ago. So yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Which game was it that had? I think it was Resident Evil. They had like a chainsaw peripheral controller.
Oh man, yes, that was Resident Evil 2 that they
Yes.
had that. So yeah. Yeah, no, I'm trying to get the camera back in focus.
I know. I'm being a putz.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah, I forgot about that one too. That one was on every shelf I've seen there for a while. Man, would have been fun to use actually.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, going back to you're talking about like ergonomic controllers and things like that, and it just popped across my mind, and I saw one of these not too long ago on a showcase. Who remembers the OG ergonomic controller, the Power Glove?
Power Glove. I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Man.
Well, you're right about that part, Lucas.
Yeah.
The Wizard. I don't remember what year it came out, but hey,
I want to say
terrible movie, but
89,
classic. I think so. Yeah.
somewhere around there. Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many out there. Like, I would love to get my hands on a PlayStation VR 2. Like the controls for that, if we're going to go that far, look really interesting. I've never played VR, used VR at all yet, so I mean, I'm kind of hesitant to pick it up. But I mean, that would be so much fun with those controls.
Yeah, I did have a chance to play on Chewy's. I think his was the which
Same.
one is it? Which one has he got? Is it Steam VR or Meta VR? I can't remember.
Meta.
The Meta one,
It's
yeah,
Meta?
and
Oculus.
yeah, the Oculus. That's what it was. Yeah,
Okay.
and
Chewy, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, he
I know
was
you're
he was
watching.
visiting, but yeah, when he was visiting us for that Rush game, and yeah, he brought his VR system over, so we kind of played around with it a little bit. But yeah, those controllers are surprisingly comfortable to wield too,
Mhm.
all things considered. So, I'd love to get a VR system at some point, but whether that happens, who knows? We'll see.
They
The
cost
problem
money.
isn't just getting the VR for the price. It's also where the hell are you going to have the room to play it?
Well,
I
yeah.
mean, that's the problem that I've got. And I mean, the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation VR 2 is corded, and that's one of the things that's like,
Mm,
so I kind of am a little worried about plugging that in and running around my living room playing, right? So
right.
I don't know. It's one of the things that's gone on the back burner.
On next week's episode, we get to see Agent Maverick jump through plate glass.
I'm an Irish fan. This is Jackass.
This is roof shopping cart. The Family Guy episode of Jackass. That was good. Yeah.
Anyway, what's the best controller you've played? Let us know in the comment section down below. And if you say the Wii U, what are you thinking? Anyway, let's move on to our topic for the day, and we are talking about microtransactions. Ubisoft claims its microtransactions make games more fun. As part of its most recent annual report via Eurogamer, the publisher restated its intentions to confirm or to continue implementing microtransactions in full-price single-player games and otherwise. The report expresses a desire to respect the player experience and to use sustainable monetization. The report's rhetoric attempts to strike a balance between centering microtransactions as part of the company's financial strategy while reassuring players that they won't go too far. So how far would be too far?
Personally, in my opinion, it already is too far.
Yeah.
Expound.
I mean, go ahead, Ryder. You take it away.
I mean, this all kind of started back in like 2006 with the Horse Armor DLC for Oblivion, and that really kind of just opened up the floodgates for microtransactions to basically exist in games. I did mention before we kind of had a little bit of a epiphany about this too. But if you think about microtransactions, you can kind of go all the way back to like arcade games, because you put quarters into a machine in order to to continue playing once you run out of lives. So technically, that's a microtransaction, right? But honestly, it's the amount of money that companies are raking in on microtransactions right now is ridiculous. I think we saw the number was like 30% of the $200 billion gaming market is just solely due to microtransactions. So I mean, we've seen it before. We're continuing to see it now. We're probably going to see it in the future. Microtransactions are getting to a point where, I shouldn't say a lot of games. It's not probably not as many games as I'm thinking, but they're preventing players from truly enjoying all the aspects of a game, whether it be because of gating with season passes, or pay to win mechanics. Take a look at things like War Thunder would actually be a really, really good one. Incredibly pay to win. It's a super fun game, but if you're not shelling money into it, you are at an inherent disadvantage against other players who have put money into the game. So, like I said, to me, the microtransaction market has already gone too far just on that alone.
The thing is, I'm of two minds when it comes to this. I know that this is going to sound weird, but like I've said on this podcast multiple times that pay to win mechanics need to go to hell. But the thing is, we also have to take into account that there are paid DLCs, there's pay to win, there's loot boxes, and there's cosmetics. Right?
Yes.
I've said it multiple times. Cosmetics are fine if you're going to shell out the money for it because that's optional. Sorry, my camera's really acting up tonight. So I mean, the pay to win needs to go away for sure. Cosmetics are fine, and I've said both of that on multiple occasions. The thing is, when it comes to games that have microtransactions built in, I do think that there needs to be a way to get the equipment or whatever you're buying as an option for grinding it out a little bit more regularly. When it comes to free to play games, this is kind of where I'm kind of a little bit give them a little bit more of a pass, because those developers that have the free to play games, and they need to have some kind of revenue stream, and that's what they rely on in order to bring it in. Now, they do get predatory in some cases. I will
Absolutely
agree
they
with
do.
that. But I mean, there has to be some sort of middle ground. I do think that there needs to be a little bit more regulation. Uh, Kind of like we were talking a little bit about it before, that even the EU with loot boxes said it's predatory because it's gambling. It's a form of gambling, and they don't want kids to be able to gamble when they're playing, right? But if you have a free to play game, that development company needs to be able to have some kind of revenue stream. But again, there has to be some kind of limit, I think.
I can tell you, it's playing a couple different free to play games. That's easy for me to say. That yeah, it has the microtransaction aspect to it. Like I play Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. That has heavy amounts of microtransactions in it, because you look at some of the stuff you can get. You can get like weapon enhancements for Cloud or Barrett or Sephiroth to help improve their weapons, or you can buy gems. You can do pulls on the gotcha element of it, so you can get um, new gear for Red 13 or Aerith or somebody, or have anybody they have going at the time. So I can I'm a broke person, so I can play that without having to spend a lot of money on it. Like I think I've only spent like maybe a couple bucks on it to get like a crate of red gems, I think. And that's about it. I haven't spent anything more on it. Take a look at another game that I play. I'm happy to give them money because they're a Canadian developer and an independent Canadian developer, and I am happy to give them my money. And it's like, yeah, of course, I will buy 30 diamonds to get this one girl so I can support a Canadian developer. Absolutely. But I think for the most part, microtransactions are here to stay. And that could be either a good thing or a bad thing. I hopefully hope that it is a good thing, and it doesn't lean into that predatory nature that we were talking about earlier, because that can get if somebody has an addictive personality, they could rack up
What you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to kind of expound upon that too. I mean, like yeah, especially when it comes to free to play, like there's one game in particular I don't mind giving my money to, and that is for Marvel Rivals.
Here,
Now
I
I
thought you were
haven't.
going to say Diablo Immortals.
Oh God, no! I played that game for like maybe half an hour and I uninstalled it. It was
Nope.
terrible. But yeah, no. For Marvel Rivals is a lot of fun. It gives me that Overwatch
Get back
vibe
into that.
that I missed. And everything in terms of microtransactions are all purely cosmetic. I haven't bought a direct bundle from their store, like to pick out certain cosmetics, because you can actually earn them in game through in-game currencies or certain like special events and things like that. But I do buy the season passes because they give you extra currency that you can use to buy costumes. They give you extra currency that you can use to eventually buy the next season's season pass without having to fork over additional money. So they kind of give you a path to continually, buy into the game, so to speak, without having to spend too much money on it. And each of the seasons are like 2 to 3 months long, so it's not like you're doing this every month or anything like that. And their battle passes are pretty reasonable. Like their battle passes are $10. In some cases 15, depending on how much content they want to do. And the other thing that's also nice about it is that all of the heroes that are on the roster are all free when they're released. You don't have to buy additional DLCs. You don't have to buy specific bundles in order to get access to those particular heroes, which is something that Overwatch used to do in the past. So, Marvel Rivals, I think, does it right. There was something else I was going to say, too. I was going to say, in terms of where that kind of predatory nature comes in kind of secondary is with content creators. And it's not through any fault of their own, because they're, a lot of, especially like the really, really large content creators. I'll use Call of Duty as a really, really good example of it. These content creators that are, they're large enough that they're bringing in thousands upon thousands of dollars for their own, for their own pockets. And they want to spend that money on all of these various bundles and skins and cosmetics and packages and bundles and whatnot for Call of Duty. Some of which have been accused of being kind of pay to win-ish, which I can actually see the arguments for, but that's a whole other argument for another time. But content creators of that stature, I think, are kind of unintentionally leading into the problem, in that they are buying these cosmetics to show off and kind of making all of their viewers going, hey, I want to buy that cosmetic too. If I buy that cosmetic, I'll be as cool as Courage JD or Tim the Tatman or, insert big name here. And, those players in turn are spending their money on those same cosmetics. So I think I think content creators are kind of part of that little vicious cycle when it comes to predatory microtransactions. But like I said, not through any fault of the content creators themselves.
There's
I agree on that one.
Yeah, there's two things that I kind of want to bring up, like in regards to the predatory nature. Let's face facts. There's one major company out there that worries me with their involvement that is out there for microtransactions and how much they push. And that's Tencent. Their involvement scares the crap out of me with all of these companies, especially when they're like, hey, we're going to go and buy these other companies and have these shares and push more microtransactions. And that to me scares the crap out of me. And the thing
That's
is,
good reason too.
Yeah, because last I heard they were owned by the Saudi Arabian government as well, if I recall that properly as well. So there's involvement there with a government, and that is kind of scary to be able to have that kind of money be funneled into Saudi Arabia on top of it. Like, we're not going to get political with that,
no.
but just
not.
the idea of a government being involved and that being so predatory, and their involvement in the world of gaming, and them trying to sweep up as many companies as they can. And I think one of the other companies that's really bad for it, especially when it comes like for pay to win, is actually EA. They did it with Battlefront 2, I believe, was really bad there for a while. And Madden has always been a bad thing, been really bad too, for player packs and the create your own team, whatever. You can get packs for free for winning games and all of that as well, but it's people pay a ton for it. And you've had, like the writer brought it up, people that are streaming use that content and push that. And there's one guy in particular. Whenever Madden comes out, you can expect a video of him ramping up of how great the new Madden is, gets super excited over the packs he's opening up. And he's become really well known when it comes to it. I can't remember his name off the dome, but I mean, I don't really want to advertise for him anyways. But I mean, it's just sick on how bad things have gotten when it comes to that. And again, like there are again some exceptions. Like one of the other things we're missing out on talking about is paid DLCs. I mean, we're talking about extra. Like, there's two arguments to that story as well, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on it. The extra content being added, people say, "Oh, well, it should have been added to complete the story." I get that argument, but when it's additional content that's added, that's not necessarily finishing off the story, but tells a separate story, I think isn't a bad thing either. But I mean, there's two sides to that. I don't think DLCs is a bad thing,
No, me neither.
but I also agree that there are some where it's like, that one should have been included with the game. And there are companies out there like they're trying to funnel more money into their company to earn that income, and it essentially make people be really interested in the last little bit of the story to complete the game. And game prices are high enough as it is. So I don't agree with that tactic either. But if it's, as I've mentioned, there was the 2 DLCs for Witcher. They were completely separate stories, and they could have sold them as a game tied together, and people would have paid $60-$70 for it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead they released them for $15-$20 a piece. So that case, I'm good with it. It was Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, by the way.
Friend of mine
But
was
anyways,
playing
kind
that
of
on
racking your
good.
brain last time we were talking about that, trying to figure out the
Yes.
names.
As soon as I was done, I was like, what's our DLC? Yeah, oh, damn it. Hearts of Stone. I should have known that. I've played it only 10 times.
That's it, rookie.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to get those numbers up.
But yeah, and then I'm on the opposite side of the field where DLCs aren't exactly in today's day and age. DLCs aren't exactly well received, typically because they more often than not end up being extensions of the current storyline rather than it being a completely separate thing, like those 2 Witcher DLCs. So there's a lot of times where those DLCs probably should have been released with the game, but because of development cycles and shareholder promises and things like that, they want these developers get those games out, just get them out. Doesn't matter if they're finished or not, get them out of the market. Let's start getting money in our pockets. We'll fix the other part later. Oh, there's an unfinished story pack. Well, here we can cut that off and sell it separately, so that way we can keep getting more money, so we can make our shareholders happy. So I mean, Star Wars Outlaws, I think, is one of the culprits for it. I mean, their latest story edition very easily could have been tied to the story, but they didn't. They made it something completely separate. So I mean, yeah, it's becoming a lot more common now than it was around the time when Witcher was around. Other games that I think can kind of get away with it would be, I would say Diablo 4 would probably be sort of an exception to it, because it is kind of a whole separate story away from what Diablo 4 originally was, but at the same time you can still play the original Diablo content and the expansion content and be happy. The one that you can't do that to, which I know we've all played, and we've all had our hands in this game in the past, and that being Destiny 2.
Oh, don't.
So
Yep.
There is a prime example of how DLCs should not be handled.
Yeah.
Because like if you are a current Destiny 2 player since the beginning, you have paid for how many DLCs? How many of them can you access right now? Yeah, and yeah,
that's a high end. That's on the high end is about half.
That's kind of the reason why I stopped playing Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Part of the reason. Reason I won't get into.
I agree, and I will also say another DLC, because I know you haven't played this game in its entirety yet, Ryder, is Ghost of Tsushima. Because there was actually a separate story that took place on a whole other island. And there was all additional content. It wasn't tied to the story at all. And if you play the game through all the way through, you don't need to play it. It's a nice little add-on. And the thing is, it's like a giant side quest is basically the way that they pitch it. And I had no problem with that. When you give me a whole new area to explore, I guess another one would have been Horizon Forbidden West. The DLC for that one was fine. It was a giant island. It wasn't just one island. It was multiple. They had new machines to ride as well that you could fly in on. Like there's so many. There's a lot that was added, and even the original Horizon had actually the Frozen Wilds. Again, whole new area to explore. You didn't have to necessarily go there. It added a little bit to the story, sure, but it wasn't a part that you needed to experience. So, I mean, there are still some exceptions. Camera's awful tonight. Sorry, guys. You don't need to experience those. But the thing is, you have all of that additional area to explore. You had additional content, different machines, different enemies, all of that. I think that's fine. So again, there are some exceptions. Final Fantasy 16 had some decent DLCs as well. I know Ryder you haven't picked that up yet. I know you're kind of like, I've got other games to play. I had fun with them. They were fine. And to see Leviathan and have additional summons be tied to it, again, more abilities, new islands, new places to explore, it was fine. Wasn't needed, but it was there. So yeah. I agree to an extent. There are games out there like, why didn't you include that? And I think another decent example was actually Doom Eternal. I gotta say that the Doom Eternal DLCs, hardest gameplay I've had for a first-person shooter in a long time. Like it was rough, but I had a lot of fun with that as well. But not needed. Like you don't need to play that.
I'll give a couple examples of DLCs that I've played that one I think was a good add-on and one I think was a terrific add-on. First one being Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I thought what they did with the DLC for that, they did it really well. Like it stayed in Midgar, but it told an entirely new story focused on Yuffie. You did have a little bit of crossover with the main story, seeing Tifa and Barrett return from the bombing of the Sector 5 reactor after they lose Cloud, and just seeing Yuffie's story progress. I thought they did that really, really well. The DLC that I played that I think did it tremendously by taking the DLC and integrating it into the actual story of the game was Hush Hush. When I picked up that DLC, I thought it would be just a separate add-on that you played on separate from the story. But they were able to integrate that into the main story of the game, and they did it so well. It felt natural. It felt like a brand new game from what I played previously. And they just, I have to commend Sad Panda Studios for doing that, for making an already great game, putting that DLC into it, making it part of the story, and making the game so much more better.
Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head of a DLC that really kind of stuck out to me. There was one that I remember from way back in Burnout Paradise, and I remember seeing this in the game too. When you first started playing Burnout Paradise, there was this one area just off to the side of the map that led to a bridge that led to a whole new island that you couldn't get to. And then some years down the road, they finally opened up that island to a whole new set of racetracks and challenges and things like that you could do. That's one where they just released it as a free DLC to the game. It's like, okay, yeah, here we finally finished development on this area that was meant to be in the game from the start with. but we never finished it, so here it is, have at her type of thing. I think that's the way DLCs should go, to an extent. Obviously, like I said, with Maverick's case, going to The Witcher, because you're basically playing, you're almost playing a whole brand new game. Paid DLCs like that, I think, have a place in this market. But when you get to things but like I said, then when you start getting into DLCs like Destiny, where you're paying for content, you're paying for a portion of a game, and that gets taken away from you. Stuff like that is stuff I really disagree with.
No, and I 100% agree with you, because like Irish Bandit there, I stopped playing Destiny because of that. The thing is, everybody gets this with me already. We've been doing this podcast long enough. I replay everything that I own. Okay? Destiny, I bought the gold tier version. And it was because I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy this game. I want the DLCs. I want to be able to play that going into the future. But I thought they're always going to be there.
So
Oh yeah, and so I feel completely ripped off when it comes to that game, which is one of the reasons why it's like I've got no interest in going back to it. And I think I did buy Beyond Light, I think is what it was called at one point.
Yes,
there was
I think that's the one I bought.
Yeah, and I was like, it was on sale. I think it was like $15, and I played it. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. And I think the one that came out after that, PlayStation released on PlayStation Plus. I got it for free. Haven't touched it yet either. There's a new one that's out. I'm not willing to pay $50 for DLC that they're just going to take away in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I agree, and it's so frustrating. Like honestly, at this point, if I really wanted to play Destiny again, maybe I'd jump back into Destiny 1. I'm sure all the DLCs are still there. So that's my 2 cents. But when it comes to like going back to like paying for stuff for games, the one thing that I'm concerned about too, and this was actually one of the things that sparked the idea of this conversation tonight, was actually because of Rockstar looking at bringing in cryptocurrency in for GTA 6. And the idea is, hey, I found this gun and I want to be able to sell it. So you'd be able to sell it for real money in game. And that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know, like it's rumored right now, nothing's been confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
But they may also go in, I've had this conversation with Phil Spencer Jr. They may also go, it might have been information that was leaked incorrectly. It might be that GTA is actually making fun of the fact that there's cryptocurrency in the world, that it's a real thing, because that's something that Rockstar's been known to do. Do it as satire, right? Make fun of that situation. So it could go either way, but I mean, that's still kind of concerning that is a possibility that they're looking at. And they had that hard stance of not being able to do that. Like they're looking at breaking, if this is true, they're looking at breaking their own policies that they have in place, because they said we'd never want to go down this road, and they put policies in, and now they could potentially be looking at breaking it. And that is not only pay to win, but you're also earning money or using your own real world money for things that you could grind for.
Yeah.
And you're paying other players. Again, it's predatory in that case too. And it's crypto. Crypto is not a good thing either.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as well. I don't like the idea of having crypto, but it could be a sign of the times as well.
Yeah, I really hope that kind of crypto eventually kind of goes away. I know how popularized and how sensationalized it is lately, especially now that crypto is starting to appear in the world of politics, where we really don't want it to be.
Exactly.
But I mean, the other thing that concerns me too, like GTA 6 is going to be a global phenomenon. Like this is not going to be something that's popular only in Canada and the US. This thing is going to blow up worldwide.
Yep.
How many of those additional countries outside of, say, the G7? How many countries outside of the G7 are people going to be able to access the blockchain? How many people are going to be able to access bank accounts that support cryptocurrency? You know, like, so if they're able to earn this, earn bitcoins in the game, how are they gonna access them? How are they going to transfer them out? How are they going to cash them out? That sort of thing. But I mean, in terms of like real money transactions, that's not a new thing. That's been, ask a guy who plugged how many thousands of hours into Diablo 2 and sold how many Stones of Jordan on the internet for real money. So I mean, yeah, RMTs are definitely a very, very real thing. They've been around for a long time. They probably will continue to be around. Although not nearly as frequently now. I know Diablo 3, when it first came out, there was a real money market. They eventually had to shut it down and get rid of it because people were abusing the ever-living hell out of it. And I mean, that's kind of that's going to be the thing with GTA 6 too. When you start incentivizing real life money into games, how many people are going to abuse the system to try and squeeze out every dollar that they can for their own advantage? Be damned with what anybody else thinks or how it affects them. Because when you think about it, somebody in Timbuktu is going to do everything possible to earn as many bitcoins, regardless of how many players it inconveniences or worse, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, you're also talking about, like, one of the things that we could bring up too. I don't know if this is still a thing anymore, but I mean, Second Life used to be really bad for it too. Like, they used to have real estate developers that were selling virtual property in Second Life, where you
really?
could, like, somebody would buy, like, you could go and build a mansion in Second Life and property, and then turn around and get a realtor involved and sell it for hundreds of thousands of dollars for like in game. That was a real thing that was going on. And so, I mean, it's stupid the amount of money that could be made with all that too. Companies really invested in that. But I do have to, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but I did mention Diablo Immortals a little while, and I do get a kick out of things like this happening. Because did you guys remember a story where a player spent $100,000 on his player to max it, and then he went into actually try to play the game and do PvP, and no one would face him because he was too overpowered. And in fact, then he had no one to actually play with because he was the only one that invested that kind of money into the game. Like, it was bad. Like, no, it like that. When it comes to that situation, I get a kick out of it and I have a good chuckle because it's like, you kind of had it coming. You spent that kind of money. You had that kind of money to spend, like, and why would you give it for Diablo Immortals of things?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's still a thing nowadays too, in a slightly different sense, in that there are a lot of games out there where players will sell their accounts. World of Warcraft had this for a very, very long time. I know most game companies now have kind of cracked down on it, and it's against terms of service. So if you're caught buying, or if you're caught playing on an account that's not technically yours since inception, type of thing, they'll straight up ban your account. I know Rust has it. Shout out to Komomo, one of the greatest cheat catchers on YouTube right now. He's constantly catching accounts that have been basically bought full of gear and items and storage and things like that. MMOs, it's all over the place in MMOs. Final Fantasy 14 is really, really bad. Another example of this is all the botting that's going on in these games for those real money transactions. Like, you as a brand new player, you go into Final Fantasy 14 for the first time, you go into one of the home cities and you open up that chat, you would be lucky to get in word and edgewise with the thousands of automated bots that are trying to promote websites where you can buy in-game currency for real money. So I mean, yeah, that's another kind of part and parcel of kind of the same problem, really.
I mean, there's okay, so I have paid into microtransactions for one game. And you guys all know that like I've played this one with you guys as well. And I like have
Helldivers.
admitted Helldivers. Yep. And it's like and I still really want to get back into that game with you guys now. Like with it being being released on Xbox is blowing up again. And not
Good.
only that, there's new I don't want to
They're
say
doing a
battle
crossover with
passes, but like
Halo, aren't they?
that's what I was gonna
Yeah, the
get
OD,
with.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
like
ODST
I
Warbond. Yeah.
want to get that assault rifle in Helldivers so bad
No,
because
you
every
don't.
assault rifle that I've had has
It's
been.
so bad.
Is
It's
it?
so bad. I was watching Crash Coke play with it last night. It's terrible.
All right, well then that makes me a little less excited, but I still want to play it with you guys again.
Yeah, I
Like
get
I
it.
actually really miss that. Chewy and I were actually talking about jumping back into it. Sorry, diving back into it in the next 2 weeks. So I mean, as I've said before here earlier, like I am going on vacation, so probably be when I get back, but I would absolutely load that back up and start playing with you guys again, and I want to like, really badly. Actually, I've been trying to push for that for the last few months. But I mean, I've paid for those war bonds. That's what it was. I've paid for those war bonds. But it's also nice that you can go, hey, you know what? I can go and find the super credits out in the real world
Yeah.
and buy them for free without actually having to spend any money. You just have to grind it out. That's not so bad. And there were times that we were finding 2, 3, 4, 500 at a time, and they were 1,000 super credits, and we were able to find 200 or 300 for each round that we played. So it's just a matter of spending the time actually looking for it.
Yeah.
And I will also say I want to get back into it because the Illuminate finally showed up after me saying they're coming. They showed up, and we still haven't played it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
One
we
of
need
these
to get on
days.
that.
Yeah, 2 weeks. We'll try that.
There's also something else here. Consumer groups in 18 European countries have backed a report calling gaming loot boxes exploitive. Sorry. The contents of the virtual boxes are only revealed through either gameplay or by making a payment. While some contain useful tools or desirable extras, which improve the experiences, others are worthless. The report authors, the Norwegian Consumer Council, NCC, say gamers are being manipulated into spending large sums of money on the chest. Game publisher EA has previously compared loot boxes to children's toys, Hatchimals, and Kinder Surprise. Critics say the boxes are a form of gambling because players cannot see what they have actually bought until they have paid to open the content.
Yeah.
Ryder, you've played some games that have loot boxes in them, and what's your experience been with them?
Overwatch. The original Overwatch was
Overwatch,
was
yes.
like that. I can see where they're coming from on this, and I definitely agree that in terms of it being exploitative, and I think I kind of covered this too with the whole content creator thing, saying, they're kind of using content creators as a secondary form of being kind of predatory towards people with addictions. Overwatch did eventually change their ways when it came to the loot boxes and how they were obtained. It used to be that, yeah, like you basically the only way you could get them was to grind for hundreds of hours on end, to try and open up one loot box, or you paid money for it. Now, the difference with Overwatch is that everything contained within the loot boxes was purely cosmetic only. There was no pay to win functionality to it. The other game that I never did end up getting into, but it's still very, very popular nowadays, is Counter-Strike. The amount of loot boxes that you get, and then again, this is kind of where it ties back to our previous conversation where players are selling accounts full of stuff. Counter-Strike is a big time money printer, really, if you want to call it that, with all the various different, and again, because it's all purely cosmetic, but some of these cosmetics we're talking about less than a 1% chance to acquire. So these things are insanely valuable. So and everything that you acquire in terms of cosmetics in that game are all done via loot boxes. So I mean, in terms of exploitative, definitely. I think a lot of games have kind of gotten away from that now. And that's why we're seeing a lot more battle passes as opposed to loot boxes, because battle passes, you're paying money into it, but you are able to see what you're going to get and when. You just have to, spend time in the game to actually earn those particular rewards. The one thing that I'll say about those types of deals as well, and I think this is where Marvel Rivals truly gets it right. When you buy a battle pass in any other game, once that season ends, if you missed out on any of the rewards in the battle pass, that battle pass is done. You can't go back and get anything. In Marvel Rivals, if you buy the battle pass, that battle pass is permanent. So technically speaking, if you wanted to spend money on Marvel Rivals, but you only had time to play maybe once a week, once a month, 2-3 times a month, if you buy that battle pass, the season ends, that battle pass goes into your archive, and then the next one comes up. While you're playing, you can go back into your archive and open up that battle pass and spend your currency to unlock the items in previously bought battle passes. That's the only game that I can think of off the top of my head that actually does that, and I wish more games would do that, where you can buy into a battle pass, a season pass, whatever, what have you, and if it's timed, as long as you bought it, you can put it away. You can either work on the new one or you can work on the old one, or both, if you really have, if you get that much more time to do both. But I know, yeah, like I said, the EU kind of cracked down on this whole loot box thing, and I think loot boxes are kind of going the way of the dodo. Like I said, Overwatch got rid of it; they went to the battle pass method. Counter-Strike, I believe, is still doing the loot box thing though. But I think they're still kind of tackling with they're kind of button heads with the EU because of it too. But I think they've modified their structure a little bit more with the new Counter-Strike 2, in that you're still dealing with loot boxes, but now you can't buy the loot boxes directly. They kind of figured out some type of workaround for it. It's not really any less predatory, but they more or less satisfied the requirements of, of legislation of the EU type of thing.
Want to be clear though too, with that part that you read there, Rob, this article is a few years old, so there has been a lot of developments that have happened since. And I know that there's actually another game that Ryder, and Phil Spencer Jr. and Chewy and I have all played that have loot boxes for cosmetics only, is Division 2. And we all we all kind of forget about that one with that happening. But again, you can go out in the world, find stuff, but you can also, you complete objectives, you find keys, and then you open up caches, right? Like, even when you level up and you get another weapon or another level, you have a cache to open up right away too. Mm-hmm. And that's associated with whatever level that you're at. So when you hit level 18, you have a cache to open, and then you get new equipment. Could be new armor, new weapons, whatever, all associated with that as well. And that's the definition of what we're talking about too. Less predatory because it's not real money, it's experience that you're putting in. You do have to grind for it, and you never know what you... Yeah, and again, the cosmetics, it's like, oh, you've completed this challenge. And it's like, the thing is, I never look that stuff up. I just go, oh, I logged in today. There's one sitting there. Okay, I'll open up my cache. Yeah. And I'll have a new t-shirt or a hat or whatever. And that to me isn't so bad. And the thing is, so the one thing that I don't mind is if I start one character, I level him all the way up. And then Ryder turns around and goes, you know what, I really want to start from scratch. And I really want to build up a character. Okay. start a new character with them. All of the inventory for the cosmetics carries over to all the other characters, and because it's tied to the account. I don't think that's so bad either. So I think that is okay. I know Ubisoft is saying that we were talking about it earlier, that microtransactions make games more fun. I'm hoping this is what they were talking about when it comes to Division 2. But the thing is, I don't think that that's the case. You know what makes games fun? Gameplay. Give us
Yes.
gameplay and a story. I mean, I'm starting to get on board of like, okay, story's not as important. Just give us a good gameplay. Like
Yeah, good
Division 2 is
mechanic.
always going to be something like, you know what? I'll just jump into it, play it for 2, and I don't really care what's going on with the story. I'm just going to play it. Oh, there's a mission here. Oh, this thing's happening. Okay, I'll go deal with it. Like a little, like that's fine. Like I'm good with that. But I think gameplay is more important than microtransactions. I'm sure every
Oh,
single
absolutely.
gamer would agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
Dead Zone Rogue would be a good example of that too. Fairly newish game. I have no idea what's going on in the story. Gameplay's a ton of fun though.
Yeah.
Which game is
And
it?
I mean, Division
Dead
2
Zone
is a
Rogue.
lot of fun with,
Okay.
yeah. And Division 2 is a hell of a lot of fun with friends. Same with Helldivers. But that's the point of these multiplayer games.
So, do we have anything else that we want to cover with this?
I think we've
Oh.
all said our piece.
Good, good. All right. Well, I guess with that, we can start powering down the system, and let's just go around the table. And Agent Maverick 86, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitch. On the very, very, very rare occasion that I am streaming. And I do still have my Facebook page, which has been kind of dying off a little bit. I haven't really put anything new, which is the new Geek Corner. I still do movie news and game reviews and news as well. That being said, I had said a couple weeks ago when we last got together that I was going to be looking at doing Resident Evil 2 remake this weekend. I think I'm actually going to switch it up. I'm not sure what day I'm going to do it here yet, but it's supposed to be super hot and super nice this weekend. So I really don't want to be spending all weekend inside gaming. So one of the days I will. There's a couple new games that are coming out this week. There's Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater and Lost Souls Aside. But I think I'm going to jump into Lost Souls Aside this weekend. And I'm likely going to put together a little bit of a stream at some point, either Saturday or Sunday, try to figure that out, because one of those days I really want to go outside and enjoy the weather. And I know that there's no stream here next week or no pod next week, because I believe Ryder was saying that he's on nights next week.
Yeah, I was going to mention that at the end of the episode.
Yeah, well, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to steal your glory there.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And I know you guys will be back in 2 weeks, but that being said, as I said, I am going to be on vacation and going to be out of the country, so I'm probably going to be missing the next 2 recordings if these 2 gentlemen decide to do that without me. So I will be sitting out here the next little bit, but for good reasoning. But I'm excited to get back to it late next month though with you guys. But yeah, at this point, keep your eyes on the page. There are going to be some game reviews coming out. Phil Spencer Jr. is going to be helping me out with a review for Metal Gear Solid, and I'll get one out for Lost Souls Aside. There's Chronos next month. There's Hell Is Us. And then, of course, Ghost of Yotai is going to be coming up pretty quick, too. So there's going to be lots of streams that are going to be happening and lots of reviews and everything happening on my page here in the next little while. But I will keep you posted at the new Geek Corner.
Awesome. Ryder Pride, where can we find you?
Well, you can also find me on Twitch, where I do stream pretty occasionally nowadays. Energy levels have been kind of low, so I haven't had a lot of time or energy to do a lot of streams, but there will be more streams coming. I am planning on finishing Lunar Eternal Blue. I am also going to be definitely cracking down on some brand new games that are going to be coming up here over the next couple of months. We've got Borderlands 4, we've got Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evil East Chronicles, Pokemon Legends ZA, which is going to be coming out as well. I will be getting a Switch 2 for that. We've got Octopath Traveler 0 that's coming out. Ghost of Yotai is another one I'm going to be keeping my eye on to see if I can try and squeeze that one in at some point. So yeah, there's definitely lots of new stuff over on my YouTube channel, where you can also find my content. I just released a kind of like a preview video for a new JRPG game that just got released yesterday as of the time of this recording, called Quartet. So I'm going to be doing some Let's Play and review content for that particular game. All those games that I mentioned previously, I'm also going to be posting VODs, posting Let's Plays, posting reviews, all that kinds of stuff. So make sure you guys are following me over on YouTube there as well. I did post, surprisingly enough, I posted a TikTok today. So if you guys want to follow me over there, I'm over on TikTok as well. I'm on Threads, I'm on socials, all that stuff, which you can find down below in the video description. So yeah, that is where you're going to be able to find me.
Awesome. And you can also find me on Twitch as well. I am back to streaming 4 days a week. Finally got a new monitor, 25-inch Samsung. Oh, looks sweet. Got some new speakers to go along with it. So I'm back, and I will be streaming every Thursday and Friday from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. On Saturdays, I've switched my time. I'm going to be streaming from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And Sundays, I am streaming 9 till noon in the morning. So be sure to join me for that. You can also join me over my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on TikTok. And you can also pick up a copy of my novel Shade Falling over on Amazon. You can get that through the Kindle e-reader or on paper. Yeah! Maverick has it right there.
Yeah, I can't see mine.
Mine's over. My copy's right here, but my copy's cool because it says not for resale. So, yeah. So, anyway, thank you all for joining us today for this episode of the podcast. Like Mav was saying, there'll be no podcast next week, but Ryder and I will be back the week after. So be sure to join us for that. Don't forget to hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us again for another episode. For Ryder Pride 639 and for Agent Maverick 86, I am the one, the only, second Irish Bandit. We will see you on the next level. Take care, everyone.
Hi, guys.